Hi everyone. So it's taken me a while to get to this video. This is in regard to the Reflex S by Stella Pro Lights, and I've had the CLX10 now for a long time. I think I got it in the fall, so I've been using that one for a long time. Love it, it's amazing. But these Reflex S's are definitely something you should consider getting. So this is the actual size of this LED light, and this is a hybrid. So what that means is it's capable of both continuous and flash. Now, the wonderful thing about when you use the flash portion on these is that it doesn't matter if you want to shoot high-speed sync. It doesn't matter if you are outside and let's say you're in the shade and you need to darken down that background, but you need that pop of light on your subject. Any remote will do, and the remotes that work with Stella Pro are the Elinchrom triggers, Pro Photo triggers, as well as Godox. So for me, I've been using my Godox trigger, and there's one thing that I learned the hard way. When you are using the trigger with the Stella Pro, you have to make sure that it's full power on your trigger and make sure that you have sync turned on. Now, on the Godox ones anyway, it's just the sync button. Make sure that is and that will give you more power. I knew I was doing something wrong when I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get the power to be more on the flash than it was on continuous, and it was totally my fault. I wasn't setting up my trigger right. Now, the way that these work is they come with a battery. Actually, I think the batteries are sold separately, but if you want to use the battery, this is what the battery looks like. This is what it looks like without the battery, okay? Now, these batteries last a significant amount of time if you're using it as a flash. Now, if you're using it for the continuous light portion, my experience is I've got about 45 minutes of usage at full power. Now, full power is something that you're going to want to use if you're in an already rather bright area. But from what I'm seeing, the majority of people tend to use these in a darker environment. That way they don't have to use the full power, and the light that it renders is spectacular. So what are the modifiers that you can use with these? Well, these come with various Fresnel style lenses, and they range from spot to medium and medium wide. And I find that I typically am using the medium wide because I want that larger spread of light. And they just simply turn on like this, and you hit the little gray button on the side here and that turns it on. And once you do that, then you're going to see the little Stella Pro display pop up here. This dial on the back is what increases or decreases your power. You hit the button one time and you get the modeling light. Okay, so you can see that's pretty significant. Now, when you pull it all the way up to the highest it'll go on battery power, it's very bright. However, if you want to use it corded, so you're going to use a USB-C with a 100 amp outlet, if you use that, then you're going to get way more lumens. I believe on the Reflex S it goes up to 9,000 lumens if it's plugged in. And also, as far as the flash is concerned, it's significantly brighter. The power outage that comes when you have it plugged into power is significantly more. Now, I think one of the most beautiful things about using this particular light is the fact that it's so portable, it's so small, it's so light. So if you're one of those people like me, where natural light is fine, in an ideal circumstance, let's say, you know, if you're shooting natural light, you have your subject backed into a shadow and you can point their face towards a bright wall or the sky or something, that's usually ideal, but that's not always the situation, is it? So what I find, especially in the spring when it's the rainy season, it's a lot of gray days. And I mean, I know there's a lot of photographers that love flat light, that love natural light. That's cool. I'm not one of them. I love that more pop of light on the subject. I don't want it to look like a natural light shot. I want the assistance that light brings for the editing process, because when you're editing, if you have an extra pop of light, that's less retouching that you actually have to do. And again, the beauty with these is that you can shoot wide open. If you are one of those people that love a good bokeh, like myself. So anywhere from f1.2 to f2.8, and it doesn't matter, just make sure that your trigger is set in the way that I told you. Some of the accessories that Stella Pro offers that you can purchase separately is a couple of things. So this is an actual Fresnel, and I use this one for my CLX10. And that way it will magnify that beam of light toward your subject if you can't be that close to your subject. So this is super handy. I love it. It also comes with this little white diffuser. So I typically keep that on my CLX10. And if you are a mag mod lover like I have been with my 8200s in the past, I have found that the sphere and other mag mod tools will actually fit over these devices and give you that little added diffusion if you want it. Now, if you don't want it, you can go with the white dome like so, but I have been using this one in particular for outside portraits, especially in the fall. And I just put a little umbrella right through here, and I feel like that soft light, the diffused light, is definitely something that you want. Now, some umbrellas that you get are super long and kind of a pain to carry around on location. So what I found was, I found these itty bitty little tiny umbrellas on Amazon, and they're super, super cheap. I got 2 of them. And I'll put a link in the description below in case you're interested in getting these as well, but I'll show you how small these are. And this is really the beauty of getting these. They're a pretty much full-size umbrella, and if you need that soft, buttery light against your subject, then I would suggest getting a couple of these. They're super cheap. I think they were 20 bucks each. I don't know off the top of my head, but I will, like I said, link below in the description. So I've done several shoots with these now. I didn't want to do a video on these lights until I actually used them several times. I don't think that it's something that you can just jump into and go, oh, this is great, this is what it does. So I've done a few. I've done a dance video, and I'll show you a little bit of the behind the scenes here as well. But I did use the burst mode. Now, burst mode will freeze the action, which is absolutely phenomenal. And so I did tend to plug this into a power outlet when I did that, because I didn't want to shoot wide open. I wanted all of the details of the subject to be there, and I'll show you a couple of those. But I have to say, you guys, that these are truly game changers. One thing that I do want to mention though is that these will not replace your strobes. So for instance, if you're shooting, you know, let's say 2 to 6 or more people in studio or even outside, I still will use a strobe. And the reason for that is because when you're shooting family portraits or larger corporate portraits, anything like that, you want every single person to be in focus. And these just don't have the power it takes to light a group that large. So keep your strobes. I was ready to sell everything after I tried these. After the first time that I shot with them, until I had a group come in and I realized, oh, I cannot use these. So keep in mind that these are super awesome for probably weddings, not the group stuff. But if you're shooting the couple and you're outside at night and you want just that natural burst of light, or you want to use continuous lighting, the beauty with these is, like the CLX10, what you see is what you get with the continuous light. So what I tend to do with, especially with the CLX10, is I will put my umbrella on or my mag mod sphere, and I'll walk around the subject and just see exactly where I want that light and where the shadows to go. And then I'll either use a light stand or I will go ahead and have someone help. Now, that's always the beauty with continuous light, especially if you're shooting mirrorless and you have your live view display on the back of your camera. It is literally what you see is what you get, which I love. I've been a fan of continuous lighting now for years, and this is the first time I've had this type of light setup. And I have to say that I prefer these over any other brand that I've used, and I've used several. So here's a shoot that I did the other day, and I made the outfit. I actually covered up an old corset with it. I loved the pattern, but I knew I wanted to switch the yellow to white. But what I used was the Reflex S through the umbrella, and then I used my CLX10 for the background, And again, what you see is what you get, so you can move the light around to change the direction of light. And you can see as well that I have a reflector camera right, and so that adds a little bit of bounce back, and you can see the final image here, what it looks like without all the yellow. You can see in this next shot that I moved the light directly in front of her. I raised it up really high and pointed it down because I wanted to focus that light onto her face for the final image. So after that first set, I moved her to my darker set, and I just switched to an Elizabethan color, and I made sure that the lights were closer to her than the backdrop so we could really darken down the backdrop. And the final results for this one turned out really cool as well. So that's all for this video, guys. I'm about to start my Zoom workshop where I'm going to be teaching people these techniques on creating AI images using your photography. Starts this Saturday, and I'm super pumped about it. I hope those of you that were interested joined. We have a fairly large group this time, so it should be a whole bunch of fun, and I will see you in the next video.